The fire that spoke. In the heart of Okudili town, nestled between rolling hills and whispering palms, stood the headquarters of Udoka Holdings, a once thriving enterprise known across 3 states for its wealth and influence. Behind the company's polished glass doors and iron gates, secrets festered like wounds left to rot. Madame Jojan, a graceful woman in her early 50s, worked in the finance department. She was not just respected but feared, not for her power or her position, but for her unshakable integrity. In a place where bending rules was a daily ritual, Madame Jojan stood like the Iroko tree, firm, tall, and unmoved by the winds of corruption. A widow and mother of 2, she carried herself with quiet dignity. Her head was always covered with a simple scarf, and a small Bible was never far from her. She kept meticulous records, balancing accounts to the last cent. It was said in hushed tones that Madame Jojan once returned 5,000. That had been mistakenly added to her travel allowance. She did not fear man, only God and the laws of the land. And that made her dangerous. The conspiracy? Her troubles began when her department head, Mr. Okisi, and a few senior staff began a secret siphoning operation. They created fake vendor accounts and forged invoices. But each time they tried to pass their fraudulent expenses through, Madame Jojan blocked them. "She is the devil in our midst," Mr. Okisi hissed one day during a late-night meeting. "As long as she is here, we will never drink from the pot." A plan was hatched in the shadows. One weekend, while Madame Jojan was away visiting her village for her late husband's memorial, someone broke into her office cabinet. Her employment file was removed. Her original certificates, which bore the official seal of her university and other documents, were replaced with forged ones. On Monday morning, the accusations came like thunder in the dry season. "She got this job with fake papers," said Mr. Okezi, clutching the doctored file. Madame Jojan stood still. Her knees trembled, but her voice did not. "That is a lie. God sees me." She begged for a proper investigation. She pleaded for her original documents to be read, but the management, already compromised, turned deaf ears. Mr. Okezi was close to the company's CEO, and whispers began to swirl like harmattan dust. Without a hearing, she was dismissed. The fall. The news broke her. She wept as she packed her things. The same corridors where she was once greeted with smiles now echoed with silence. A few junior staff, too afraid to speak up, watched with red eyes as she left. Weeks passed. She grew thin. Her voice faded. Her children, who once ate from her strength, now watched helplessly as she withered. One morning, her son found her seated on her favorite chair, eyes closed, Bible on her lap, her body still. She had died of heartbreak. The reckoning. 3 months after her burial, strange things began to happen. The first was Mr. Okezi. He was found in his car, parked under the mango tree outside his compound, stiff, lifeless, eyes open in terror. The autopsy showed no sign of poison. His widow said he had been hearing voices for days. Next was Miss Tope, another conspirator. She died in her sleep, clenching a piece of paper. It was a photocopy of Madame Jojan's original certificate. One after another, all those who had taken part in the conspiracy fell like pawpaws during a storm. Some said it was karma. Others whispered that Madame Jojan's spirit had risen. Then came the fire. It was a Friday night. The compound was locked. Security guards had stepped out briefly to eat. A spark from an overloaded fuse box, one that had been reported but never repaired, ignited a small flame in the finance department. The fire danced like a living thing, as if it knew where it was going. By morning, the entire building had been reduced to ash. Files, computers, ledgers, all gone. Only one thing remained untouched, a blackened, half-burnt Bible found near the finance office. It was open to Proverbs 10-9. "He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known." Epilogue. Years later, children in Okudili are told the story of Madame Jojan, not to scare them, but to teach them. In a land where truth often dies in silence, she lived and died for honesty, and though the company rose again in another name, The people say the land where the building once stood remains cursed, and sometimes at night, a soft humming can be heard, like a woman singing a hymn. They say it is her, still watching, still waiting.